A woman gets involved with her missing best friend's brothers but ends up uncovering something she might not want to face. Ava heads to her in-laws' house to celebrate her father-in-law's birthday. However, she finds that the contractor they hired to build the new guest house started a day early. They're also digging the wrong area, so Ava scolds the man but gets interrupted when the builders find human bones under the soil. Soon, the police arrive, and Detective Helen interrogates Ava, who's sure that they just found her friend and her husband's sister, Nathalie. She disappeared after her parents' wedding anniversary party 25 years ago, which Nathalie and her brothers organized while the couple were returning from a cruise. The guests stayed the night while their kids camped in the woods, so the party continued with a breakfast gathering the next day. Just as Helen asks if Ava noticed anything about Nathalie that day, her estranged husband Claude and their son Julian arrive. However, Julian walks out upon seeing his mother, leaving only his father to greet the woman. The detective asks him about the night Nathalie disappeared, but Claude claims he was mostly grilling barbecue that night. He only recalled seeing his sister go to the woods, but she was still seen the day after the party. Helen confirms this, noting that a cyclist spotted Nathalie by the river the day after. Ava then goes to talk to her son, but Julian ignores her, pissed that she's divorcing his father. Thankfully, her brother Paul and his wife Erica arrive to comfort the woman. Soon, Claude and Nathalie's brother Theo arrives with his wife Hannah. He checks in on Ava, not noticing his brother eyeing them suspiciously. Helen speaks to the other brother, only to be interrupted when the victim's mother, Martha, mistakes Ava for Nathalie. Reporters also arrive to cover the story just as Nathalie's father and famed writer, Alain Derrida, arrives to receive the awful news on his birthday. That evening, the supposed celebration becomes a quiet dinner as they process Nathalie's death. Still, Alain assures them that he's happy to have them during this difficult time. However, Martha scolds him for being happy and accuses him of spreading lies about Nathalie's death to make her stop looking for her daughter. With this topic in mind, Ava admits that she can't remember the details of the day Nathalie disappeared. The men recall that the lady was with her boyfriend Luca, and Claude adds that the morning before the party, he, Nathalie, and Ava went shopping, and his sister got sick afterward. While at work the following day, Ava is still troubled by Nathalie's death, so she rants to her coworker Lena. Given her colleague's emotional state, Lena advises her to see a therapist and recommends one who specializes in hypnotherapy. Ava refuses, but Lena insists and books an appointment for her. Later, while separating her items with Claude, she shares about the hypnotherapist, but he advises against this, thinking it's dangerous. He recommends going to therapy together instead to save their marriage. This surprises Ava, but when he comments that it might help her see her mistakes, she takes offense at this. The man points out that she's not really happy now that they're separating. He wonders if she's with another man and assumes it's Theo, which Ava profusely denies. She then tells him that she just doesn't want to give him false hope, and this breaks the man's heart. With that, he walks out. Soon, Ava meets with the hypnotherapist Alex. She begins sharing about how her parents died one after the other as if they couldn't live being apart. This made her realize that she didn't feel that same love towards Claude, so she decided to divorce him, though she feels guilty now, given his family's troubles. Ava then shares about Nathalie's death and admits that her memories about the day she disappeared are confusing. She recalls seeing people having breakfast on the lawn, but she knows that she woke up after the guests started searching for Nathalie. Alex explains that sometimes traumatic events can lock memories they don't want to face. He offers to help her recall through hypnosis, and to start, he has her remember a happy memory. This has Ava looking back to when she and Nathalie set up a bird's nest on a tree. The memory makes Ava feel good. When she gets home, she leaves Julian a voicemail to invite him for dinner. Instead of him, Theo visits her to discuss Nathalie's funeral. That evening, the two catch up and joke around. This stirs up buried feelings for each other, leading to them getting intimate. During Nathalie's funeral the following day, Claude tells Ava that his sister was pregnant and was strangled to death. This turns her case into murder, much to Ava's horror. As Alain reads his eulogy for his daughter, the brothers notice Nathalie's ex-boyfriend Luca attending. At the family dinner later, Alain gets pissed that Luca had the nerve to attend. Hannah wonders if Luca is the father of Nathalie's child, but since it's been so long, there might not be enough evidence to prove it. Suddenly, Martha apologizes to Ava, thinking that she is Nathalie. Ava asks what he's apologizing for, but the old woman doesn't remember. While heading to her car later, Ava finds Luca waiting for her. He stresses that he's become the suspect given Nathalie's pregnancy, but he asserts that he would never have hurt her. However, he also knew that Nathalie was manipulative and played him, Paul, and even Ava. Ava reminds him that she's Nathalie's best friend, but the man believes she hated the woman. Ava shares this interaction with Alex during her next session. She denies hating Nathalie, though Luca's words brought back some memories. On their last New Year's Eve together, Nathalie took Ava to see Luca's band perform, knowing that her friend liked him. Things were going well until Ava caught her friend making out with Luca. Afterward, Nathalie pretended like nothing happened, and Ava went along with it since she didn't want to lose her friend. Days later in the present, Ava and Paul are on a drive to meet with Alain. During this, her brother criticizes Ava's decision to divorce Claude, given that he's a successful and well-loved surgeon. The woman defends that something was missing between them, but Paul doesn't think that's a good reason to lose the family she built. During their lunch with Alain, the man shares his worry about Martha. He can only find comfort that his wife isn't fully aware that her daughter is dead. Ava brings up how Martha was trying to apologize to Nathalie. The father reveals that not long before the party, Martha admitted to her daughter that she was already pregnant with her when she met Alain. The man was a widower at the time with 2 young sons. While Martha had many previous partners, partner since she really wanted a child. Because of this, she didn't know who Nathalie's birth father was. The teen wasn't happy with this, hence why Martha felt guilty. After their lunch, Ava meets with Helen and her colleague Hans about Nathalie's case. They ask where she was when Nathalie went missing, and Ava answers that she was asleep in her tent. She recalls that she, Claude, and Nathalie went out to shop for the party earlier that day, and the latter felt sick. Now, she realizes that it might have been due to Nathalie's pregnancy. When asked about Luca, she claims that she didn't see him at the party, though she mentions that Nathalie was toying with him. She was seeing both Luca and Paul at the time, though Ava asserts that her brother couldn't have done it. While driving home, however, she becomes suspicious of her brother and asks where he was the day after the party. Pissed, Paul admits that he was hungover after drinking his sorrows away, thinking that Nathalie spent the night with Luca instead of him. He recalls that Martha spotted Luca coming out of the woods, so she asked him where her daughter was. Luca claimed that he was looking for her too, and that was when everyone started searching for Nathalie. Days after, Claude invites his ex to dinner to celebrate their son's birthday. He clarifies that Elaine made this happen since Julian always listens to his grandfather. Just then, Julian arrives, and he embraces his mother much to Ava's delight. They have dinner together as a happy family for the first time in a while. The following day, Ava visits Martha. While pretending to be Nathalie, she forgives the woman, hoping this will give her peace. She attends therapy that evening, and they delve into her memories on the night of the party. Ava recalls that she had her first experience with Theo that night. After the deed, he asked her to keep their time a secret. They fell asleep together afterward, but she woke up alone the following day. To Ava's surprise, she finally recalls waking up earlier that day while everyone was still having breakfast, only to find Theo with another woman. Heartbroken, she spent the morning by the river on the opposite side where Nathalie was last seen. Ava struggles to recall what happened next, so Alex lets her rest, promising that they'll get there eventually. On another night, Ava and Theo attend Elaine's interview. With his novels being reprinted, younger audiences were able to read them, though they criticize how badly his female characters were written. He defends that men like attractive women, so he's not shy about writing them that way. However, a man from the audience berates his narrow-minded views. He asserts that privileged men being at the top is what's causing their society's decline, and the younger audience cheers him for this. The writer argues that the youth blame middle-aged men for everything, calling the cancel culture the worst thing to happen. This has many of the audience walking out while Elaine continues castigating them for calling him misogynistic when his daughter was murdered. His behavior surprises Ava, having not seen her father-in-law that way. In her next session, Ava recalls meeting Nathalie on the other side of the river. There, the teen confessed that she caught Elaine with a woman named Tess. Ava wakes up to this memory, and Alex suggests that she block this out since it was proof that her family wasn't perfect after all. Soon, Hans and Helen visit Ava to tell her that Luca wasn't the father of Nathalie's child. However, they found pieces of paper from the river where Nathalie was last seen, and the handwriting matched Ava's. Ava explains that she tore pages from her diary the morning after the party because she was heartbroken. This contradicts her earlier statement about waking up when everyone was already looking for her friend. Conflicted, the woman just claims that she lied about it since she didn't want people to know about her relationship back then. She finally admits that she was with Theo the night before. He told her to keep their time a secret, but when she found him with another woman the next day, she tore the pages about him from her diary and threw them in the river. As the detectives question her further, she realizes that they're treating her as a suspect, so Ava visits Alex to tell him this. She denies ever harming Nathalie, but the therapist suggests that the woman's death might have been accidental, and Ava blocked it from her memory out of trauma. However, he thinks it's also possible that she's subconsciously protecting someone, so they try to recover her memories of that morning. After much difficulty, Ava sees a memory of Elaine strangling Nathalie. She refuses to believe this, given that she knows how much he loved his daughter. Alex assures her that this happened when she was younger, so she might have remembered things differently and repressed her memory. At home, she shares the revelations with Lena. She trusted Elaine, and coming forward with this information would break Martha's heart. She's not even sure if she remembers everything correctly, so she doesn't know what to do. The following day, Claude visits his ex-wife to inform her that Martha just passed away. With the woman gone, Ava decides to tell her estranged husband that his father might have killed Nathalie. She asserts that therapy helped her uncover her repressed memory, but Claude thinks hypnotherapy is playing with her mind. Ava defends that they've always ignored Elaine's damaging views about women and intimacy. The man also always carried the keys to his study, where no one was allowed to go in, stressing that Elaine might have been keeping secrets from them from the start. To find proof, Ava locates Tess and asks her about her relationship with Elaine. The woman admits to this and even thought she was why Nathalie ran away years ago. Ava encourages her to speak up about how Elaine took advantage of her, but Tess admits that she was the one who pursued him since she was a fan of his books. Days after, the family attends Martha's funeral, where Elaine expresses his love for his wife. During their family dinner that evening, Paul excuses himself to leave early since he knows everyone suspects him of Nathalie's murder, so he no longer feels like part of his family. Theo defends that they've all been questioned, though he admits that he never found Paul's relationship with Nathalie healthy. Offended, Paul asserts that he loved Nathalie and turns the suspicion to her non-biological brother, who's a known womanizer with anger issues. Hannah defends her husband and reveals that he cannot have children, so at least she's sure that he's not the father of Nathalie's child. Theo tries quieting her down, but the woman yells that she doesn't want any more lies before storming off. Erica goes to check in on her, and the guilty Paul apologizes for what he said. Elaine then reminds him that they're the only ones he has left, so they must support each other. Sympathizing with him, Claude offers to get another wine bottle for his father, so Elaine hands him the keys to the wine rack. However, his son uses this chance to steal the key to his study. Ava then excuses herself to go home but meets up with Claude, who gives her the key. She then sneaks into Elaine's study and searches for evidence. However, Elaine eventually notices that Ava's car is still there. Because of this, he rushes to his study just in time for the woman to find a page from Nathalie's diary. On the page, the woman wrote that she was pregnant because of a deretor who took her forcefully, so she planned on telling her mother after the party. Given this, Ava storms off while Claude watches over his horrified father. The following day, Claude joins his ex as she surrenders the evidence to the police. Soon, Elaine confesses to Nathalie's murder and gets arrested. Since his hypnotherapy uncovered Ava's memory about witnessing the murder, Alex also gets notoriety, though many doubt that these repressed memories are accurate. 2 months later, Ava has gotten back together with Claude, thus completing their family again. His family's estate is being sold after Elaine's arrest, so the group packs up their items. During this, Ava goes on a walk to the river to say goodbye to her times there, only to notice how the water flows in the opposite direction than what she remembered. Thinking this, she checks the hole where Nathalie was found and recalls that this was where the barbecue grill was set up on the night of the party. Claude finds her frozen, so she tries to explain her theories, but her husband reminds her that they already solved the case. Despite this, Ava is still distracted during dinner later that night. Just then, Julian mentions that he saw photos of Nathalie and finally realized how she looked like his mother, thinking this was why Martha mistook her for her daughter. This gives Ava an idea, so she suddenly heads out, leaving her family confused. She goes to the opposite side of the river to check where the paper will flow and sees that it goes in the direction she remembers. Seeing this, she rushes back to the lawn, where Claude finds her. She shares that she finally recalls being the one on the other side of the river when the cyclist passed by. This means he saw her that morning, not Nathalie. Given that Nathalie was buried where the grill was set up, Elaine couldn't have killed her since he was still returning from the cruise when they set up the barbecue. With her memories rushing back, she also recalls that she, Claude, and Nathalie went grocery shopping the day before the party, not that same morning. Instead, she found Theo setting up the grill the morning of the party, but he commented that Claude was the one who built it the night before. Given that Nathalie only named the father of her child by his last name, Ava finally realizes that it was Claude who took advantage of her friend and killed her. With the truth finally out, Claude defends that he was madly in love with Ava, but she only wanted Theo then. Nathalie knew about his feelings, so she manipulated him using her likeness to Ava. He already knew that she wasn't his biological sister, so he started seeing her as the woman who paid attention to him. With this, he grabbed the opportunity to be with her one afternoon. Claude defends that he was young and misunderstood Nathalie's manipulation for affection. He regretted the event immediately, more so when she revealed her pregnancy and threatened to report him the night before the party. He got angry, so he grabbed her and accidentally killed her. Afterward, he buried her in the garden and built the grill on top so no one would find her. He then used the fact that Ava looked like his sister, so he pointed to her during the party while talking about Nathalie to make people think she was there. Because of Ava's testimony and the pages that Claude had planted in the study, it was easy to pin the crime on his father. Tearfully, Ava realizes that the man confessed to protect his son, even though he murdered his stepdaughter. Claude asserts that it was all accidental, and he only lied to protect his family. His father knew his life was already over, so he was willing to take the fall for his son. He stresses that Elaine gave them a chance to be a happy family again, so he begs her to keep pretending for their son. However, Ava is mortified by the truth, so she runs back to the house and calls her son for help. Unfortunately, Julian is wearing headphones in his bedroom, so he doesn't hear her. With Claude nearby, the woman locks herself in the bedroom, but the man breaks the door down. He then strangles his wife, noting that he'll make it look like she did it to herself out of grief. Luckily, Julian walks in and slams a trophy on his father's head to save his mother. The man collapses with blood pooling from his head while Ava embraces her traumatized son. Eventually, the truth comes out, and Elaine is released from prison. 2 years later, Ava attends her son's first book signing for his best-selling novel about the deretors. He admits that he used to hope to be like his grandfather, but due to their family secrets, he realized that it wasn't a good idea. Instead, he sees his mother as his hero, so he raises a toast to her and his first novel. Touched, Ava embraces him, noting how proud she is of her beloved son.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.